Sport is superstition, science, family, drama, love, theatre. It's everything. That's why we've made a betting brand for sports fans. That's Betr. Gamble responsibly.
It's third time unlucky for Kevin Durant as he sprained his MCL, the same injury that sidelined him last season and back in 2017. James, how did Brooklyn stop the KD injury derailing their season, dare I say it, once again?
Well, I'll tell you what, Dicko, they've taken steps already, which is like the smartest thing I think Sean Marks may have done in this offseason for this Nets team. They've just ripped off one of the best, basically the best ever sort of run that the Nets have had in franchise history. They've gone 18-2 in 20 games. They've never done that before. And then, of course, Nets fans can't have nice things. You get Durant, you get Kyrie, it all goes a bit haywire at some point. It's always going to. That's the rule. The thing is, what we've seen is their off-season involved getting TJ Warren, Yuta Watanabe, and our man Royce O'Neal. So basically, they've got some swingman options to plug and play in place of Durant, or even next to Durant, as we've seen so far. But this has been an incredible team all year, right? They've had a top 10 offense basically since Kyrie came back. They can score, and that's what happens when you've got Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, two of the most gifted scorers in the history of the game playing. What will happen, we'll see them take a step back. But TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal, Yuta Watanabe, it's plug and play vibes, Dicko. It's plug and play. TJ Warren, great ISO scorer as well. He's basically just like a poor man's version of KD. Off you go. Yuta can spread the floor. You've even got a healthy Joe Harris, which is a bit different from when KD got hurt last time, where they kind of just went, well, there goes our offense out the door. And they completely plummeted. I think it was 5-17 when he was out last time. That's not going to happen this time. I'll tell you what though, Ben Simmons is the key. Yeah. The Aussie is the key here. He's averaging a jaw-dropping 7, 6, and 6 at the moment, Dicko. Can we bank that up a little bit, Ben, please? That's all we need. I want to see this go up to about, let's say, a 12, 8, and 8 without KD out there. But the thing that's really bothered me about Simo's game is that he's been back since October. He's played 30 games. 7, 6, and 6 just hasn't been good enough. He's been a happy sort of facilitator. He's been a defensive attack dog. You'd love to see that, but he's got one more field goal this year than fouls made. That is chaos. That is absolute chaos. So I need to see more offense from Ben. He's taking half as many shots at the moment in his career this year than he did when he was a rookie. 6 field goal attempts per game versus 12 when he was a rookie. That can't continue without KD there. Ben has to be more assertive. We need to see him facilitate and attack the basket. His drives have plummeted. I need to see more drives. I just need to see him be more attacking, come from a more offensive sort of mindset and go from there. And just watch the Nets. They'll be fine if that happens. It's this ISO sort of ball that's going to be a bit interesting. So Ben needs to sort of fix it all up, and away we go.
Geez, you're a hard taskmaster. You're riding Ben Simmons already. First show back. All right, speaking of missing stars, the Suns have fallen off the face of the planet since losing Devin Booker. Is there an end to this free fall, James?
There was kind of earlier this week. They were 2-10, I think, without Devin. They got a big win in Golden State, which you love to see. The big problem for them was losing Devin Booker. They also lost his backups. Campaign, Landry Shamit. You lose your backups, it's a bit harder to plug and play if you can't just go, all right, we've lost this bloke, who's going to step up? And if they're not there, it's a lot harder. The thing is, this was a big sort of indicator of like how old Chris Paul is. He's like, right, if you had Chris Paul in his prime, just roll him back out there, you lose your shooting guard, doesn't matter. We've got the big man, DeAndre Ayton, we've got Chris Paul, we'll be fine. Chris Paul's now 37, he's old, he's a bit slower, different point in his career, he couldn't carry them. The big thing for Phoenix, though, the Booker injury is a big problem. They need to tread water. They've not been able to. Like, this is the thing. Brooklyn will be able to tread water. Phoenix haven't been. What will happen, though? People are clamouring. What's going to happen? Is there going to be a trade? Is there going to be a trade? Can Phoenix make a trade? They've been trying to make a trade, Dicko, and it hasn't happened yet because they've been sold. So the owner has to sign off. He doesn't want to take any more money. It's all a sort of a messy situation. But the thing for Suns fans, they'll just sort of look at this and go, right, Cam Johnson's been out for all this entire year. He's basically our free agent or trade acquisition. We plug and play him. We try to get rid of Jay Crowder. If they can pull off a Jay Crowder trade, bring in someone like Kyle Kuzma from Washington, or even failing that, Rui Hachimura from Washington, I'd love to see. Maybe a John Collins from Atlanta, aim for the sky, you'll never be disappointed. Maybe Bojan Bogdanovic from Detroit. Basically, they need another sort of big shooting wing. But because they've just been sold, it's going to be tricky. But essentially, if Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, get Cam Johnson back, Michael Bridges, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, they should be fine in the end. But at the moment, it's massively worrying that they've been this bad.
You took me back to my childhood there with the ShamWow when Mum used to buy that on telly late at night. All right, now we're going to talk about Benjamin Button. Correct me if I'm wrong. LeBron James, he's staying great at 38. Can you believe it? He's less than 500 points away from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record. What does this mean for him and the Lakers?
It means they're back.
They're back, baby.
They're back. It means more than anything, they're not out of it, really, which is the big sort of key, I think, for the Lakers, because the phrase puncher's chance is basically built for this team. They lose Anthony Davis. He had been absolutely tearing it up before he goes down towards the end of December. They've ripped off a recent 5-game win streak. That got them back within spitting distance of the top 10. The top 10 is the key point for the NBA in the conferences because that's your play-in tournament cutoff. They get close enough to give them a bit of a shot. All you need to do is a couple more win streaks in the second half of the season, they'll be fine. Anthony Davis looks like he'll be back towards the end of January. You love to see that. But the LeBron thing is patently ridiculous, Dicko. Patently ridiculous. No one's done this before. No. He's 38. I groan when I get off the couch and he's my age. It's insane. He's averaging 29.1 points a game. That's the 5th most of his entire career. He's been in the NBA for 20 years, Dicko. How does this happen? He takes care of his body and he's an athletic freak. But it's incredible. So basically, if he stays healthy, if they get Anthony Davis back and healthy, punches chance, get into the play-in, get into the playoffs, they'll be fine now. I kind of love it. It's huge. I
want to see your driver's licence. You are not 38. You're 42 in the shade. All right, now, our man Josh Giddey is shooting an insane 34.9% from downtown. Now, the US media are finally sitting up and taking notice. Are you surprised at that?
I'm surprised that they finally cottoned on that the mop-top Mamba is an absolute weapon, and I love him. The craziest part is that Josh Giddey last year was shooting, I believe, 26.3% from 3, and he's now bumped that up basically to 35. That's a huge jump, and they brought in notoriously excellent shooting coach Chip England, and he's made a huge difference. But it's also just testament to not Ben. That's the difference, right? Josh Giddey, testament to his work ethic on his shooting form. Whereas you see someone like Ben Simmons who's kind of like, well, I'll just exercise that from my game. Giddey went, I can improve. And that's exactly what he's done. It's made him much more of an all-round threat. And you've seen OKC, his team, my beloved Zombie Sonics, out there, and they've been close in pretty much every game all season because he and SGA have just formed this weird sort of partnership where SGA is the absolute sort of superstar. Giddey fills in the sort of gaps, does everything else. And to boost his shooting percentage that much just opens up that entire offense for that OKC team. And down the track, that's going to be huge. He's now sort of getting to that almost, you've got to think about him being possibly an all-star probably next year maybe. This is the sort of thing. Because if you have that three-point shot alongside all of his other talents, you can't deny how good he has been. And it's great to see the US media finally go, yes, the mop-top Mamba, watch out, here we go.
What a start. You have not missed a beat. All right, stick around as we delve into the scoring bonanza across the competition.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's Betr. Gamble responsibly.